can!
It's over!
He's done it again! Unbelievable!
Oh, straight into the roof of the net.
Nice one.
Straight down the middle. So a good performance.
Hi and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. It's a packed Monday evening coming to you. Yes, Pakistan has been knocked out of the T20 World Cup and it's been one of the worst performances by this team at a World Cup. But we look at the hate machinery that fuels Pakistan cricket. Is that the only thing that keeps them going now? Why are former cricketers not focusing on the larger problems rather than creating more of their own? Floods in Florida bring the USA leg of the T20 World Cup to a very disheartening note. How did the ICC miss the signs here, and could they have saved fans all the trouble? Nepal may not have won a single game at the T20 World Cup, but the world is applauding a country fighting to find its place in the big bad world of cricket, and the whole country is behind them. And who are the youngsters ready to set the Euros on fire? I'll bring you our top 5 picks, but first a look at the headlines in Sports 360. Starting with cricket and the T20 World Cup, Sri Lanka beat Netherlands by 83 runs in an inconsequential Group D encounter. Put into bat first, Sri Lanka posted 201. In response, Nuwan Tushara picked up 3 wickets as Netherlands were bowled out for 118. Bangladesh and South Africa are through to the Super 8s from this group. French captain Kylian Mbappe has confirmed that he will not play at the Paris Olympics. This decision follows Real Madrid's refusal to release their players for the Games. The Olympic football tournament is not on FIFA's calendar, so clubs are not obliged to release their players. Mbappe said he wishes France all the very best. England fans were involved in an altercation with Serbia reporters before the Euros opener. 7 Serbs were arrested and 1 supporter has been charged with criminal offence for physical assault. The suspect was armed with a pickaxe. The German police have arrested him. Over in tennis, Britain has announced its squad for the Paris Olympics. Former Olympic champion Andy Murray is set to compete in the singles event. Murray is the only player to win back-to-back Olympic golds in this event. He will be joined by Jack Draper, Cameron Norrie and Dan Evans. Former US Open champion Emma Raducanu has not been included in the lineup. And in golf, Bryson DeChambeau has won the US Open for the 2nd consecutive year. DeChambeau clinched the title by 1 shot in a dramatic final round, defeating Rory McIlroy, who failed on 3 of his final 4 holes. Pakistan managed to get a consolatory win over Ireland in their last group game. They stumbled before somehow closing it out. Shaheen Afridi bailing them out with bat and earlier striking with the ball too. Still, it was a win that showed Pakistan have not come together as a unit in this tournament. Experience got them through this one. But my story today is not about that. It's not the lackluster fielding, the out-of-tune batting or the inconsistent bowling performances that Pakistan have displayed at this World Cup. That's all been well documented over the weekend. I'm talking of Pakistan cricket being pulled into a quagmire by their own fraternity. If it's not the cricketers' performances, it's the voices around the system, around Pakistan cricket, that is continually growing louder and louder by each loss. And that din is fueling a machinery of hate among fans, among Pakistan cricket. And here's the thing, the worse Pakistan performance gets, the louder this noise becomes. It's a smooth, well-oiled machine that works without fail. And people consume this every single time. There are armchair experts sitting in shows across TV stations and digital platforms who wait to lambast and scream. Shoaib Akhtar intimidated opponents with his tearaway pace during his playing days, and now he sits on YouTube and spews criticism at a pace that would have matched his own deadly deliveries.
I think we should give credit to Pakistan. They tried their best to lose this game. I could not think any other way. If you look at Pakistan's middle order and the whole batting order, it was just run a ball. Nobody asked you to hit, go across the line, do anything stupid. But we made sure the match that could have been won easily by us, we refused to win it. Shocking. Surprising.
And it's not just experts or former cricketers who are jumping on this bandwagon. Anyone with anger and hatred to spread at the expense of Pakistan's cricket team is out there. Some do it via memes. Now, that is still an attempt of trying to make light of a game and what's happened. One has to win and the other lose, after all. But for many, it's a license to vent, an outlet where their angst over life or anything else fuses into going after the Pakistan cricket team. Now, I understand the anger. After all, Pakistan was always one of the favourites heading into any ICC event, a side that could be most dangerous. It's a tag that they have proudly worn and lived by. But what I do not understand is the theatrics and the venom that come with it. Take Ahmed Shehzad, for instance, this former batter, calling for Babar Azam's head. At least that's what it seemed like when he spewed hate during Pakistan's T20 World Cup campaign.
There is no leadership in this team. You're just a social media generated king. You have had 4 to 5 years. You guys play politics. You guys don't have the required fitness level. You have played your peak cricket and now your cricket is declining. You have not let anyone else come into the team. Till now, you have maintained friendships only.
And it's not just him. Many are now demanding Babar Azam be sacked once again. Yes, Pakistan did not perform as a team, and yes, there have been many issues, right from what's on the field to their dressing rooms. But it's nothing new. Teams go through phases such as this. Every team has its own share of issues to deal with. Why aren't questions being asked of the PCB, the board, who played musical chairs with every position in the cricket system all these months right up to this World Cup? Any temporary fixes will only give temporary results. Continuity is essential. That's what will give you results eventually and for the long term. But maybe the PCB too, like many others, are invested in Pakistan cricket, are being consumed by the hate machinery that at least seems to be working continually without any glitches or changes. The ICC T20 World Cup started off rather shakily with the pitches in New York coming under the scanner, low-scoring matches, but skyrocketing ticket prices. That's what everyone was crying foul over. Then there was Dallas, a stadium which had a seating capacity of around 7,500. You still thought it's a small compromise to make for a new venture, Cricket World Cup in America. But along came Florida, and suddenly there were some setbacks, more setbacks rather than gains for the ICC. While New York and the Nassau County Stadium brought criticism, the Lauderhill Cricket Stadium in Florida added more fuel to the fire, ironically caused by showers. 4 matches were organized in Florida, and out of the 4, 3 were abandoned without a single ball being bowled. Clearly, cricket didn't reach Florida. Just one game, and that was that. Not the kind of publicity for cricket making its way into the country for the first time. The lone match played out ended up being a dead rubber, and all that was also thanks to the Shahs partly. Ireland versus Pakistan, Sri Lanka's match against Nepal, the USA game versus Ireland, and India taking on Canada were all abandoned. This despite not a drop of rain on match day, and yet the game had to be cancelled. Why? Now, the outfield was wet and damp. Water had not drained out completely. The stadium simply couldn't handle it, and the facilities were just not up to the mark. Clearly a situation that brought lack of cricket infrastructure in the US into sharp focus. But this situation could have been avoided. All over the world, we've seen the entire grounds being covered in case of rain, especially when there is prediction of one, like there was in Florida. Kolkata's Eden Gardens in India, despite having a good drainage system, covers its ground to its entirety when it rains. All the grounds in Sri Lanka do that too, because rain is a common occurrence there in most of these venues. And in Florida, where there was a state of emergency due to floods, maybe the ICC and the organizers could have been better prepared. If a country like Sri Lanka, which is struggling economically, has had many more problems to deal with, can do so, why not the US? Now, I understand USA isn't a cricketing nation, but since the ICC was staging this event, because taking cricket to America was paramount. It was their responsibility to ensure everything along with that went off smoothly. How we don't have more covers to cover all the ground is beyond me. That's what Michael Vaughan says. All the money in the game, and yet we still get games called off. Former England captain Michael Vaughan was appalled after ICC's failure to address the issue. Fans were most disappointed. Many of them couldn't get tickets to the big face-offs elsewhere. They had to come to see India's star players play against Canada in Lauderhill, Florida.
Request to ICC that it should not host the matches where there are no covers to cover the entire ground. So many people were waiting to see top stars in action, but they were denied. All the ground organizations have to have covers that cover the entire ground. You can't give the excuse that you don't have money for covers. However good your ground drainage system is, you have to have covers. Here in America, where do they get to see so many top-class players? Give them the opportunity. So get the covers for the entire ground. Everybody can do that.
So if you thought it was just the lack of facilities in place and ICC not really ensuring that the stadium would be well equipped to handle a World Cup, then there's more. Although ICC says they will refund the tickets, there's a rider. That refund will only be applicable for tickets that were bought from the official website. So the refund doesn't apply if they were purchased from reselling websites or elsewhere, which many surely would have. So for those who paid extra to catch a match that got washed out, basically go home without getting even a glimpse of the cricketers, and now not a penny back. Not exactly the win-win situation that the ICC was hoping for. There are some heartwarming stories that are emerging from the World Cup. Players who've beaten cancer to play, a service worker's son representing his country, the oldest cricketer featuring at this World Cup. Let's hope these stories make up for some of the big misses that defines the USA leg of what was supposed to be the biggest tournament in the world. When I say Nepal, you think of a country in the Himalayas, breathtaking landscapes and rich cultural heritage. And when I say Nepal, you also think of superhuman achievements like Sherpa Kamirita, who recently made a record-breaking climb, his 30th to conquer Mount Everest. But it's not just the Sherpas who are making mountainous strides in the world. Miles over in the Americas, a young Nepal cricket team is winning hearts one run and one wicket at a time, rubbing shoulders with some of the best in the world. Nepal is staging its own cricket revolution in a tournament that was meant to do that by taking to America. The young bunch instead from Nepal is inspiring millions through their cricket. The T20 World Cup in the Americas has been many things, but one I'll remember it by would be that of the undying spirit of the Nepalese cricket team. While success and the rise of a sporting nation is usually defined by the wins, for Nepal, their fighting spirit and the united passion of a country coming together has defined theirs. Nepal's campaign at the T20 World Cup has ended with a loss to Bangladesh in their last Group D encounter, but they've made giant leaps in the way they've carried themselves. They came excruciatingly close to creating history when they took on South Africa, losing to them just by one run. First, they restricted the mighty Proteas to 115, and then in a nerve-wracking chase, they fell short by just one run. Nepalese batter Sompal Kami has been a star in this tournament. In fact, he even went on to hit South African pacer Andre Noke out of the park during this particular knock. Fearless display, even against some of the best in the world, has been their trademark. Many of these cricketers come from humble backgrounds with little to no resources or any help, not enough to even fuel their passion. It's this fearless attitude, even in the face of adversity, that has made the world sit up and take notice of them. And that's the kind of cricket that they've played, believing that they can win, that they can still qualify. It's something that their coach Monty Desai says was key to the way they have performed at this World Cup.
We are building our story. So I'm not thinking about spoiling anyone else's party. The message in the dressing room was that we still want to live in a world of imagination, where we want to believe that we crossed the line against South Africa. We want to think that we are on 3 points, looking forward to Bangladesh and playing to qualify for Super 8.
But the biggest takeaway from these games has been the kind of support that these fans have given to their team. The stadiums for the games have been packed. This for a country that barely gets to play a lot of international cricket. Take one young fan here, and you're seeing pictures of him. The emotions captured by the broadcaster of this young Nepali fan watching that game against South Africa, priceless. It tells you the true story, how much cricket means to this country, to every single person in this country. Even during their match against Sri Lanka, which was washed out, around 5,500 Nepalese fans stayed back inside the stadium, holding their umbrellas up just to be there for their team. This is the kind of passionate support that extends even beyond the cricket ground. Even before their first match against Netherlands, the ministers back in Nepal proudly donned the cricket jerseys during a parliamentary session to signal their show of support to their cricket team. A country that came together from the bustling streets of Kathmandu to the villages in the mountains, the sport has become a unifying force, which is massive for a country like Nepal, because cricket in Nepal hasn't been easy. Lack of resources and facilities, and even getting proper cricket equipments has been a big hurdle. Back in 2016, the ICC had even suspended the Nepal Cricket Association. That gave way to financial woes, improper domestic structure, the stadiums were in shambles, and the national team was reeling under all of this. Procuring something as basic as a cricket bat was a huge task.
Without money during that suspension, we couldn't afford the high-range bats. We had this massive disadvantage. We used to get caught at boundary ropes and in the dressing room. We used to think we didn't have enough power, but later we realized the problem was the bat.
And just last year, during the Asia Cup, it was the Indian ambassador to Nepal who gifted the team over 20 cricket bats and shoes. Not just that, in a recent visit to Nepal, the Indian Minister of External Affairs, Jaishankar, even promised facilities in India for Nepal cricketers to train in and groom their talent. Nepal may not have won even a single game, but they've shown glimpses of what can be. Going by the support they have, the love and pure passion that they have for the sport, Nepal cricket has shown us a peek of the possibilities that await this small cricketing nation in their quest for greatness. The first weekend of Euros is done. England, Spain, Italy, Germany, Netherlands were all in action over the weekend. And while some of the marquee players like Harry Kane, Tony Kroos, Alvaro Morata played, the youngsters saved the footballing giants and staged a remarkable win for their teams. They took on some of the big guns of the sport and are gearing up to steal the show at the Euros this year. A few of them yet to feature as well. Now, which of these youngsters will create an impact in this Euros? Here are our predictions. Take a look.
In the middle of It's Coming Home, Holland and the varied chants, some young guns are giving their fans something to cheer about. While the Euros kicked off with talks of Cristiano Ronaldo, Tony Kroos, Harry Kane, Luka Modric and the other big guns, the young ones are taking centre stage. The biggest of them all, Jude Bellingham. Wherever England goes, expectations follow. It's about Southgate cracking the lineup. Over the years, England have had the best of talents, and yet they have failed to win any international trophy. But this could end with Bellingham's inclusion.
Got the exciting Bellingham, who's just won a Champions League and a Liga, who's 13, 14. I think he's scored 17 goals for Real Madrid.
Bellingham is a serious winner and has grown significantly in the last 1 year. Ever since his arrival at Madrid, the Englishman has become a beast. Even during the England versus Serbia game, it was Bellingham who saved England the blushes, even as the seasoned campaigner Harry Kane was ghosted. It's Bellingham's goal-scoring abilities that will make him England's biggest prospect. If anyone can make English fans truly believe that it's coming home, it's Bellingham. The biggest buzz is around Yamal. The Barcelona winger is just 16 years old and is already one of the brightest sparks on the circuit. The winger may not have scored in Spain's 3-0 victory over Croatia, but his movement inside the box and the way he pierced through Croatia's defence make him a super talent, making his father proud on Father's Day. Yamal has been a workhorse in a season where Barcelona didn't have their best. Yamal featured for the side on 50 occasions. He scored 7 goals and assisted on 10. His pace inside the box will be crucial for the midfield to attack more, and Spain's tiki-taka play suits him, and competing on a similar position is Germany's Jamal Musiala. Germany ran riot against Scotland in the Euros opener. The hosts won the encounter 5-1. While there were multiple scorers for Germany, one stood out, The 21-year-old was absolutely sensational on the night. With no errors, Musiala is one to watch out for. His pace outdid everyone against Scotland. The biggest reason why he wears the iconic number 10 jersey that Lionel Messi wears, the number that is often associated with the most skilled player in a team. Musiala's donning this number reflects Germany's faith in his abilities, and he's living up to that. Less than 2 years ago, Musiala became the youngest to make 100 appearances for Bayern. Even with star players in the lineup, he is a regular feature for both Bayern and Germany. The French team may be all about Kylian Mbappe and his heroics, but even for Mbappe to flourish in the front, the team needs a holding midfielder that can attack and defend. For France, that role will be donned by Eduardo Camavinga. He's known for his impressive technical skills, ability to control the midfield, and his excellent tackling and interception skills. At 21, he has already won 2 Champions League titles with Real Madrid. He has been Ancelotti's go-to player when Madrid are either trailing or unable to make swift play. He will don the same role for France in the Euros. Netherlands, a nation with immense football passion, seems to be diminishing. The country needs a revival, and he can bring that about. After a disappointing campaign at PSG, Simons made a move to RB Leipzig last year. The 21-year-old was one of the highlights for the German club. Simons was clinical during the Netherlands' 2-1 victory over Poland. He created plenty of chances for the Dutch side. Xabi's positional versatility is a huge plus. He can play on the wings or even as a central attacking midfielder. Whatever position he plays, the only thing that matters is his attacking display. The closer he is to goal, the more devastating he can be. With the experienced campaigners faltering, can these young talents make a statement at Europe's biggest stage?
Time for last serve. Was it Germany or is it Netherlands? A question everybody is going to ask during Netherlands Euros match day. The Dutch fans painted Hamburg orange. Take a look. Something about the energy that a football tournament brings, it's quite electrifying. But that does it here on Firstpost. We'll see you again tomorrow. Till then, take care.
Hello and welcome to Fast and Factual.